welcome back. In this video you will learn how to stop having negative self-talk and turn your inner dialogue into a positive one. You will learn how to turn on your inner coach and talk to yourself in a positive way to enhance your performance. Do you have times when you engage in negative self-talk? Is it running riot and ruining your life and your performance in sport? The truth is that we all have a constant internal dialogue going on in our head. We are constantly judging ourselves, comparing ourselves to others, and telling ourselves stuff that we should or shouldn't do. In a lot of people, that voice is a bully. It may be telling you that you're not good enough, you'll never make it, you'll never succeed, you should have done better. All of this chatter can really have an impact on you. It can grind you down and impact your mental health. If you keep saying to yourself, I'm not a first team player, or I'll never make it, or I'll never make it on the pro circuit, I lost because I'm not good enough, I'm not fit enough, I haven't got the right physique, then you're going to start to believe it. To get this message across, here's an example I used with a client. The client was very hard on himself, and he even swore at himself with harsh words. You're useless, you're crap, you'll never make it, and more expletives, as you could probably imagine. I told him about my daughter, who's actually learning to play tennis. She is only 5. I said to him, imagine if I turned up to tennis practice and I said to her, that's crap, you're useless, you'll never make it as a player. My client laughed and said that was ridiculous. The point I made really hit home to him. I said that the way we talk to ourselves is really important. The words we use and the tone of voice is so important. Every thought you have and the words you use is like a chapter in your audiobook. Each chapter you tell yourself literally creates your future story. So do you want to belong to your thoughts, or do you want your thoughts to belong to you? By changing the way you talk to yourself, you can change the chapters in your book and create a wonderful story. Let's take an example of one of the most famous athletes to have ever lived, Muhammad Ali. Remember his famous line, I am the greatest. He would continuously use this phrase at press conferences whilst at training. He would literally program his subconscious mind all the time. I am the greatest. What's interesting is that self-talk is subtle and can be more about your way of thinking. A positive mindset will actually lead to a positive frame, a glass half full approach, and lead to positive words. I like to simplify it where positive thoughts lead to positive words and positive words lead to positive actions and more positive results. Here are examples that you can start to notice in yourself and start playing a new audio track to yourself which will empower you to better things. The first column is negative self-talk. The second column is what you can replace it with. I've never done this before. So this could be, it's an opportunity to learn something new. It's too complicated. Can be changed to, I'll tackle it from another angle. I don't have the resources. How can I get the resources? There's no way this is going to work. How can I make this work? I'm not going to get better at this. To, I'll give it another go. Growing up, I had an instinct to use positive self-talk actually before and during my sport. However, the more I've researched into the process, the more I use it, and it's become part of my daily life. There are 4 types of self-talk. When you want to be calm and relaxed, for instance, you may say to yourself, keep calm, slow down, take a deep breath. Notice how the phrases are short and snappy. Next is inspirational self-talk. This is when you're involved in the skill acquisition process. It's when you want to focus on key areas of your technique for your sport. It might be bend your knees, follow through, hit the target, extend your arms. The gymnast might say, legs together, chin up. A footballer might say, head over the ball, hit the target. A swimmer might say, smooth entry, glide and pull. And a rugby player would say, drive with the legs. Another type of self-talk is motivational. It's when you need a pep talk and you want to, get yourself motivated. I'm sure you have done it in the past. You might have said, yes, come on, let's go. Or, I've got this, let's do it, bring it on. The last type of self-talk is for focus and concentration. You might just say, focus, concentrate, in the zone, sharp. This type of self-talk is often best used with one word which snaps you out of a low level of concentration. The tone of voice you use with yourself is also important, positive and encouraging. If the words are said in a weak manner, then the intent will not be there. These trigger words can be shouted out too. I'm sure you've all seen players and athletes do it in competition. Now, for all these types, it's best to script out a few words for each type. Give them a go and see what works for you. So I encourage you to try a few out whilst reflecting on what's changed for you and did it help your performance. Only use a few words that resonate with you. What's interesting is there's been some research into the use of self-talk. The Association for Psychology Science revealed that not only did self-talk help improve sports performance, but different self-talk use worked differently in certain situations. They found instructional self-talk is most helpful for training tasks that require fine skills or when you are wanting to improve technique. Motivation self-talk seems to be more effective in training situations that require strength or endurance. This is where you commonly see athletes getting psyched up or prepared for a huge effort. Powerlifting is a great example here. Also, another article in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology talked about a study where they got some people to give themselves a pep talk before a speech they were making. One group were told to use I phrases and the other group were told to address themselves by their first names or by using the word you. At the end of the study, they found that the group that used I phrases said things like, I'll never do this. Oh my, how am I going to do this? But the group that addressed themselves in the first person, using you or their first name, said things like, Mike, you've got this, you can do it now. It seemed that the group that used you or their names were more rational and less emotional, which led to more positive, empowering comments. It sounded like their higher self was actually coaching them. Before you run away and do the exercise, here are some top tips to effective positive self-talk. Practice self-talk before competition. Create habits and routines before a big moment in your sport. Focus on productive contextual self-talk rather than just eliminating the negative and replacing it with the positive. Each person will react differently to self-talk, keeping the self-talk specific to that person. One thing may work for one person, but not for another. Use a tone of voice which motivates you. Self-talk should be stated in the positive terms of what should be done rather than what should be avoided. For most people, self-talk is going to happen, so you need to make the monologue in your head helpful and resourceful. Okay, here's a self-talk exercise to help you change your negative self-talk. Use the self-talk page in the workbook to take a note of all the negative phrases and words you use. Over the next weeks, become aware of all that negative self-talk. This could be before, during and after your sport. The easiest way to do this is to keep a small notepad of all the times or take some notes on your phone. Once you've made this list, create an alternative positive monologue, something you can use to replace the negative chatter. And once you've scripted your self-talk, you can then start practicing this positive internal dialogue. And create habits and routines. Plan out what you will say to yourself in the key moments of your sport. For example, if a basketball player is about to take a free throw, they may just say to themselves, breathe. This trigger word kickstarts their free throw routine. They take some deep breaths, they bounce the ball twice and take a deep breath and then execute the shot. Okay, so you can see how this can be used and where it can be used. Be sure to script out your self-talk and start implementing it into your sporting practice routines and in competition. Okay, that's it for this one. You'll see me in the next.